Ready? Here we go.
Different points of view and highs and lows. A new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind, drown out the noise, and see if this connected. And see if this connected.
What's up, fam? The mission of this Connected podcast is to connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way. To not necessarily agree, but be listened to. These conversations, of course, highlight the perspective of our various guests, and you are always welcome to agree or even disagree. But as always, we hope that it is done in charity. Now, here's your host, Catholic.Dad.
Welcome back, fam, and thank you, Tony, for that wonderful intro again. And guess
You
what,
are
fam?
so welcome.
Guess what? This is what we're doing today. This is actually a recap episode for OneLife LA.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da! And every single person on the screen, fam, went to OneLife LA. And here we have Alexis Guzman, who is the youth minister for Our Lady of Guadalupe. And we have Kimberly Puerto from St. Joseph in Upland. She is the communications secretary for St. Joseph. She is also a student, only 19 years old. So I feel really old now. Okay, we can cut right there. Just kidding. She's 19 years old. She goes to the University of Laverne, taking up her major is criminology. So Alexis, be careful. Be careful, criminologist coming up. So, and we have Tony, co-host Tony, the Power YM, polo-wearing youth minister, who was the co-host of OneLife LA 2022. So, I just want to say to begin this, there was 5,000 people who marched, according to the LA Times, from La Placita to the Los Angeles State Historic Park yesterday. So we are podcasting this Sunday, the day after that event. So there was 5,000 people, really low number for me from the past. And I think we'll talk about that in this episode on why we feel that way. But first of all, Tony, you were the MC for this one. A great honor, I might admit. I was so excited. I was vicariously living through you, as most youth ministers from the Diocese of San Bernardino was. But tell us, how was your experience? How was that? Is this deja vu for you?
This is deja vu for me, but
deja vu for me too. Deja vu for you too, Kim? Really?
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's a joke for those that don't understand this, which is everyone. Arnell once again forgot to hit record, and we are recording the first 10-ish minutes of this podcast. But anyway, to answer that question, the best way I could explain this surreal experience, because it really was a surreal experience, I was just like, after the march, or excuse me, during the march, so after I was doing my talking, all that stuff on the mic, I'm walking and I'm like seeing all these youth ministers. People are approaching me, and it's very cool to see so many people from our diocese join us. And then I'm like looking at all these ministers, so much talent, creative people. I'm like, look at all these other people that should have been on the microphone instead of me. Like they would have done such a better job. But that being said, thank you, Lord, for putting me in that position, because I do a lot of self-deprecating, as everyone knows at this point in my life. And I don't want to sound like I'm not grateful for the opportunity. I thank God for it, and thank you to those individuals that, put me in that position. Manny Huerta, who was on the show, and then Michael Donaldson. So it was a very, very awesome experience. It was crazy. I didn't realize there was that many people, but it was super inspiring to see that many people understand that there was a need. There is a need in the church, and that is that our world needs to know the importance of the dignity of life. And all these people know that need and come together to walk together, because we need to pray together. We need to pray for this great need. So I was very inspired to see the largeness of this event, because that was the probably it's pretty one of the closest as far as a daily thing. It's probably the largest event I've ever attended.
Yeah.
So and for full disclaimer, I've never attended this event. Period. This is my first time, and then I'm seeing for the youth young adult portion of it. But yeah, long story short, it was a surreal experience, honestly. So, and I appreciate all the support too. Martha, who's not here with us, but Martha, my fiance Bethany, Arnell. Like, I heard you guys were like screaming when my name was called, or I introduced myself.
I was like, woo!
Yeah, you guys were all supporting me, and it really made me feel less nervous. So thank you for that.
We were on fire. We're like, he's one of ours. We claim him. It's like, woo!
Did you see me take the group picture? I went toward the San Bernardino Diocese Club. I was like, oh, well, I'll just come over here.
These people look cool. I'll just hang on.
Yeah, I love that picture. I've been sending that out to everyone. It's you know what, the whole event has always been, to me, it's a collaboration between all kinds of faiths and all kinds of people who are pro-life. It's not all Catholics, but the majority, we have to say, is majority of the people there are Catholics, and it's put on by the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. But what got me is every time you go there, it's like a big gigantic family reunion. And it's not like, hey, did you see so? Hey, welcome back. I haven't seen you all year. It's like, it's so that is what's so enticing and so beautiful about OneLife LA. It's that you see a whole lot of other people there, and especially in the youth portion. In the beginning, it's always, you have this 1 hour where you just do praise and you cheer and you meet other young people from the Diocese of Los Angeles, the Diocese of Orange, Diocese of San Bernardino, and sometimes even the further diocese, like this year San Diego. I think that's the farthest we went. But in the past, I remember seeing people from Utah and Nevada and Arizona who came down, and it was like, wow, this is like a Steubenville conference. They're going for a march. And so that was really, really beautiful, and I'm glad you experienced that. And it's truly an amazing thing to see people who believe in the sanctity of life, who profess it and live it, and share what they have with each other. Because many a times, when you are praying in front of Planned Parenthood or an abortion clinic, it's pretty rare that you would have very many people. Sometimes, like some of our friends who are in Moreno Valley, it's just the two of them that's praying there by themselves. And for when we go, it's maybe 10 of us, or at the most 20 of us. But when you see, it's like this, like yesterday, there's 5,000 of us there. And that passion just generates just such excitement that you're like, wow, I'm not alone. Just like Kimberly said earlier, you guys had an XLT, and it was like, oh, wah, wah, wah. It wasn't like what you expected, but you weren't alone, because you turn around later and it's like, oh, there's everyone. Just like typical Catholics, we're late. Right? But about getting there, let's talk about getting there. For some of us, we took the train. I love taking the train to LA. And every year that we go, we go and take the train, and we get on at the local Metrolink station in our cities. And it's usually, by the time it would get to certain areas, it's standing room only, it's packed, and it's everyone in there. And this year, on the last day, we find out that the Metrolink had closed down the train from San Bernardino station all the way to Montclair. And so if you wanted to get on, you had to drive to Montclair to be able to get on. And so that meant that, churches that were in Rancho Cucamonga that took the station there, the people from Fontana who took the Fontana, so from Rialto to the San Bernardino line, they all would have had to drive all the way to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities away to get on the Metrolink. And so we posted about it. And some people really got on it and they checked your story and they shared it, but some people didn't. And while at the OneLife LA, people were like, "Hey, the train is not here." So they missed it because they couldn't make it. And I just felt that was like the devil really working hard to push people away from going to this event. But we decided that we were going to get dropped off at Montclair. And guess who we meet there? St. Joseph, Kimberly and her crew. And you guys brought your entire church.
No, not even. I honestly thought, like, I'm not gonna lie, I honestly thought that we were gonna bring like a larger group from our church. Like, I saw one of our nights like at like Olvera Street, and I was like, oh, I thought he was gonna take the train like with us, but he was just already there. And I thought we were gonna bring like more nights, but we brought like 17s, and like 3 of those brought like their moms, and then we brought like some families. And like there was a knight who got on the train with us, but I don't even know who he was. But when I saw you on the train, Martha was like, "Kim, turn around." And I was like, "Girl, what is going on?" She's like, "Look who's there." And like I'm in my seat and I slowly turn around and I see Arno. I'm like, "No way, dude." And then she's like, "Let's go say hi, let's go say hi." And I was like, "He doesn't know us." And she's like, "That's okay, we'll go introduce ourselves." You're so nice to offer like our whole section like stickers and everything. I was like, "Thank you."
We were giving out the merch. We were giving out our Let God Planned Parenthood stickers. I think I had like one left by the time I got back, and we were giving those away. And the one night that you were talking about is Nick Ewell. Shout out to Nick Ewell. He is the chairperson of the Knights of Columbus in San Bernardino for pro-life. He is the chairperson for the Knights of Columbus. And he was actually the one who liked our sticker that had we're pro-humans, and it has all those pictures. He's the one who liked that, and kind of inspired us to make those into stickers. So it was actually the first time also that I got to meet Nick Ewell, because it's like, "Hey, would you like a sticker?" And he goes, "Hey, I'm Nick Ewell," and I'm like, "Oh, hello." And so it's again one of those things that when you ride the train, you meet so many people. And if you're unlike me, who's very shy and doesn't like to like introduce himself to total strangers, it's very anxiety building on that train, right, Tony? I hate having to like reach out and ask people who they are and talk to total strangers.
Yeah, Arnell hates talking to. Arnell hates talking. Like
Literally.
he hates it.
You have to force me to talk.
Like out of me and him, like I love to talk compared to him.
Right. And so that's why we brought Kimberly, because by the way, I think Kimberly is going to be like a regular on this podcast, because as usual, we want people who can't shut up.
I mean, that is one of my traits, as I don't shut up. So
Yeah, it's a charism. It's a gift of the Holy Spirit.
I didn't realize that you were on the same train like back. I mean, obviously you probably were, but then but we weren't in the same car on the way back home. And so then we all get off at the Montclair station, and like Martha and I are making sure our teens go with their parents. And I turn around and you're coming down the way with like your stick in the flag. And I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, we didn't realize that you guys were on there either. We literally were trying to make it to that train, and we were gonna stop by this Chinese restaurant to buy some sesame balls, and we couldn't find it. And so we finally looked, and we're like, we're gonna miss the train. So we basically booked it to the train, and we got there as the doors were closing. So that was, and I was exhausted. And the funny thing is, as we got out the Montclair station, you always get out, and there's always that nice aroma of, yeah, somebody was smoking a little happy stuff, and we're like, wow, what a
They're
pleasant
really
surprise.
going at it.
There's a party over here. And so, yeah, that was, and then we talked some more, because we're those kind of people who just talk. And then you guys were like, I gotta go, because we're gonna go have some pirate at what place did you guys go to? Tony, you gotta hear this. They went to this place to eat.
We went to the back Abbey in Claremont. It was my first time there, but apparently that's like the spot.
The back Abbey.
It is the spot, and it's the spot that Arnell and I wanted to go to too, and we didn't get an invite.
No.
And Martha Padilla Thomas, the youth minister at St. Joseph.
Yeah.
I'm very hurt.
You
I'm
think
very
you're
hurt.
You're hurt. I was there. I mean, I was there physically, and she didn't invite me. Like, she literally said, we're going to the back Abbey. And I was like waiting for, would you like to come with us?
No, that's not how it went down. See, because I was also because we had friends who were on the train with us, and they were like, oh, we'll go early, like, you guys, wait for the teens to all get picked up, and we'll go secure a table. And we're like, okay, cool. And so they go, and then we stay back talking with Arnell for like 20 maybe more minutes, and like Martha's like, oh, I'm worried that they're gonna text us, be like, hey, where are you, and this and that. So she's like, we gotta go, like, our friends are waiting for us. And that's how it came. Unfortunately, we didn't extend the invitation, but
No, Martha literally said, I gotta go because they're probably already past the second round.
yeah, that's what she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. And pretty much, yeah, I got left waiting for an invite, Tony. So yes, we are hurt.
Hey, Kimberly.
Yeah.
Do you know how much I would have loved to go to the back Abbey?
Probably a lot, depending on your tone of voice.
That is correct. That is a lot. And you know why I didn't go?
Why, Tony?
Because I wasn't invited.
Were you even back in Montclair at that time?
No. I was Alexis and I went to the mass.
He was with me. He was with me.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Invite
I
me
took him
to stay?
No one was invited to stay. I had to make sure that I had to make sure that the two youth and their parents were able to get home, which is a shout out to those two youths and their parents to make it an effort to really go. But as we talk about this recap, let's talk about the event itself. What was your favorite part? Let's start with Kimberly. Yeah, I hate this whole Zoom thing because now I have to go around in a circle.
I think I really liked the group that was playing like after the march, and everybody was like settling into the like the park. For me, that was like totally unexpected. And like I listen to salsa music like all the time on my own, and like there's this group just like playing in the park, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And like people started dancing, and like people who, if I would have looked at them during the march, I'd be like, you probably can't dance. And like, I don't know, that's just like a thought. And they're out there like swinging each other around. I'm like, oh, okay, you go, guys. And like, I don't know why, but this is also my first time at OneLife LA. And I don't know why, but I expected there to be a lot more older people. So it was really nice to see young people like my age, because I feel like sometimes I'm surrounded by like a bunch of people who don't understand me. or like who don't see like things religiously as I do. And so to be in that atmosphere with a bunch of people my age, and we're all like on the same wavelength, just vibing and dancing together, was really nice. And I loved that. And so that was really cool. Fun fact, one of the trumpet players actually was one of my old teachers. I saw they like panned him on the big like screen on the camera, and I was like, Brian? And like I didn't get a chance to see him like after, because I don't know where they went, they just like disappeared. But
Probably
I was
went
like,
to the
oh my
back,
God,
Abby.
you come in. So that was cool. I really liked that.
You know what? It's amazing that, you know what, that people do have that idea, that concept that the march is all a lot of old people, and there's old people. I was there, but the majority of the time that you do see at the pro-life marches, it's this pro-life generation, and it is your generation, because I think there's a passion right there of your generation who did not bring about this law, this Roe v. Wade, who did not bring this about. It was my parents' generation that brought this about, and it went through my generation. Now it goes through your generation, and I actually do believe that your generation will be considered the post-abortion generation, because I think we're at that point where everybody else says this is wrong, and we've been fighting this, and it's wrong. Unfortunately, it continues to be a wrong that majority of the people feels so strong about. And we can talk about the hecklers and in our interactions a little bit later. But Tony, what was one of your favorite parts of the event?
Sister Bethany Madonna, right? That was her name.
I love her.
Right, Alexis?
That's mine. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll let him talk about her. I'll go with my second favorite. Sarah Kroger. I really love her energy. I love how so there was a lot of people that weren't toward the stage, but like everyone just still did their thing with the same amount of enthusiasm. And like Sarah Kroger, like there was a lot of people that weren't at the stage. A lot of people had left at that point since she was the closer, right? But yeah, she has just such great energy, and I love the way she plays worship, and then some upbeat songs as well. And definitely probably mine. I'm a person that my prayer form, I naturally go to music, so that's probably why. But yeah, that was my favorite.
Sarah Kruger.
Alexis. All right, Alexis.
Yeah. So this is my fourth time being at OneLife LA. So I've experienced it when post-pandemic, during the pandemic, and after the pandemic, if you can say it. Hernell is right. $5,000 people is what presented itself this year, but normally it's bigger. It's bigger and better. We filled the Placita Olvera and the place where we walk. Like it's at times it's so difficult to walk when there's so many people. You have the universities, you have campus minister teams coming from the Catholic schools in the diocese. So so when I arrived there late, shout out to Christopher, one of our seminarians that gave me a ride. I know that we got there like at 11:30, and we were like, this is it? Like, where are the booths? Where are the people? You know?
Where's the 30,000 others?
Yeah, literally. And so I was just like, you know what? Like, I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. We're gonna work with what we have, youth minister mentality, and we're gonna make the best event that we can possibly give it. And just being able to come back in person to do an event like this, it just like recharged my batteries, because I was getting a little bit like rusty in how to do youth ministry. Like just being able to connect with people that I have encountered, that have met. Some of my ex-students from Pomona Catholic were there too. And so just being able to connect with them at such an important event like OneLife LA, it just gave me more life to do the things that I do. And just to finish it out, Sister Bethany Madonna is one of my favorite speakers. I listened to her at NCYC, the National Catholic Youth Conference, and the way that she delivered her message and the way that she has that ease to speak about such an important topic, that I know for a fact that if I were to be asked, so why no abortion? Why no this? Why no that? You know? And her, the way that she just speaks to express herself, I'm just like, man, I need some of that. So I'm just getting to hear her once again after all of this. I know that I'm excited for whatever's next in our ministry journey.
Beautiful. Thank you. You know, my favorite during this event was a couple of things. You know, I hate to say that I actually enjoyed it being smaller because I actually got to sit on the train. I didn't have to, I didn't have to, I didn't have to offer my seats. I remember when we would always go, I would always tell the boys, make sure to offer your seats to the ladies. This year, I think we had 2 seats, through 2-3 seats per person. And, you know, you didn't have to fight for a seat. You didn't have to worry about pushing everyone in because the doors are going to close. You didn't have to worry about the nasty restrooms because, you know, everybody's used it. So there was that comfort in traveling. But my most favorite part was the people whom I saw there. I loved seeing those people, and they were couples, you know, and they always said hi. You know, there was Josue and Sarah who were there, and there was Tony and Jen. Pray for Tony and Jen. Their desire for a child, you know, and they were there, and and there's this couple, you know, Bethany and Tony, who were there just witnessing to the love of Christ. And I just love seeing that there were young couples and some with their children. I loved seeing that. That's a true witness of what this pro-life movement is that life is created by God, and he's delivered, this life are delivered through us humans. And this gift is to be cherished. And that's always what I look at. And then I went with, you know, with 2 parents who both at their young age considered abortion. And the crazy thing is, one brought her daughter, who's turning 40, to the event, both their first time, and she had considered aborting that child. And then the other, who brought her 2 boys, who at 17 thought about aborting her first child. And so bringing those people, just seeing just the beauty of that, of why this is important. And so I always loved seeing young people, and again, seeing parents who bring their daughter or their child with them, and said, see, I made a decision to choose life, and this is her, and look what she's done, look who she is. And if I would listen to the evil spirit, she would never be here. And so those are some of the most beautiful testimonies of every single person there had a story. And I always just, someone asked me, hey, did you podcast this? I really so much wanted to, but you know me, I didn't end up doing it. But I just wanted to ask people, what's your story? Because there's just so much that people want to share in those stories. It's like, oh, man, I wish I did. It's just I couldn't figure it out. I'm not technically savvy. So that's the thing that I loved most about seeing that, is seeing the people that I knew, who were there present. But anyways, so let's move on to hecklers. My favorite part of going to these events is the hecklers. And it's like, and how do Catholics respond to hecklers? It's like, you know, so what were some of your favorite hecklers, some of your favorite counter protesters that you guys experienced?
Okay, so I was in like the middle of my section, kind of like the people around me who were marching around me. We had just started praying the rosary, and I was leading a decade, and I'm pretty loud, so like three different people offered me like megaphones. I was like, no, I'm good. They're like, are you sure? And I was like, watch me. And I'm like going through, and one guy offers me a megaphone. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. He goes, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then right after that, we're passing a group of like hecklers, and they just start shouting, and my voice gets lost in it. And then this guy who just offered me the megaphone just pulls it out and starts using it himself to pick up where I like left off. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. And like he ended up leading like the rest of the rosary. But for me, that was like my only encounter with the hecklers there. Was that like group, and I couldn't even see them because I'm short, and then I was in like the very middle of the street, so there were people coming up next to me and I couldn't even see them. I could just hear it, and I was like, this will pass in like 5 seconds and we'll go. And we did. And like I didn't see anybody for the rest of the march for the rest of the day. And I was like, oh, like that's pretty cool. And I was posting about it not only on like my work Instagram, but on like my personal one. And even my friends on my personal one were like, this is so great. Like, what are you? Some people were like praising me. They're like, oh, what is this? Like wanting to learn more. And I was like, oh, cool. Like it's this. And it was like all good vibes. This morning, I wake up to someone requesting to DM me, someone I've never met in my life, like physically. I've only seen them on Zoom once because we go to school together. And it was like, so-and-so would like to request to DM you. I was like, I already knew it was coming. And they tried to make it about like, oh, like protesting for life when Omicron is in a rampage. Like, that is so smart. And I was like, you know what? I was safe in my own way. I wear my mask. I did this and that. I'm vaccinated. And I was like, I didn't even entertain what they had to say. I just like deleted. I was like, I'm not going to try to explain it to you because if I do, you're not going to understand. And you're just saying it to like be negative. But those two instances of that group, like while we were marching and like this morning on Instagram, and like that was it.
So no attempt at throat punching someone. Just
I mean,
kidding.
I could throw down, but I won't.
Alexis, you had any experiences with any of those?
Well, I mean, those are my fans. They came. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're not my fans. Man, I wish I had those kinds of fans. But no. Anyways, so you know what? I'm gonna give props to that lady that was right at the beginning of the march, that she was denouncing the USCCB and Bishop be like, put those records out there, blah 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 blah. That little tiny lady, she is so persistent that I just was like, whoa, girl. I'm like, let's use your energy for something else, something that really does matter, you know? But it's like, I thought we had lost her at the beginning of the walk. And then all of a sudden I see her like on the other side of town, like where you went to go buy your little balls that you ate.
Sesame balls.
Yeah, the
They were
sesame
delicious,
balls.
by the
And
way.
I'm just like, when the heck did you just run from where you were, like probably like 5 or 6 minutes ago, all the way to the front of the line? I'm like, man. But you know what? I give her props for it. But but I mean, I don't think I had any like random people trying to be weird, other than the persistency of that lady.
Yeah.
Even the other people that were on Cesar Chavez Boulevard, I think they were also very like with their big gigantic signs. I was just like, I felt something weird. Well, not weird, but I felt very good doing it once again. You know, like I was sharing earlier. It's like when we were saying the rosary, and there were parts of the rosary that at that moment were like being very vivid when I was saying it, when those people were protesting us. And I don't know, I felt the bejesus just because I was just like, wow, like this is crazy. Like this is amazing. But other than that, that's all I had.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, Alexis and I have been through a few of these, and in the beginning, a lot of the protesters that we had were counter protesting abortion, and it was in the beginning. I mean, it was somewhat a little scary, of people yelling at you, people throwing things and spitting and things like that. So it was a little, in the beginning, it was there were literally people yelling back, and you really had to contain yourself. But this year, I think the only two protesters that we had were that lady who was protesting the bishop in the USCCB and the anti-Catholic protesters. The stop worshiping idols, things like that. So there wasn't that contingency of people who were pro-choice who were really doing it. The only time we had that experience was going home. And so when we were walking back, we would pass by people who would make snide comments and snide remarks. And they were, it's like they were not people of color, I would have to say. And they were young women. I would just have to say they're young women, not people of color, who would make comments like, "I love abortions," and this one lady said to one of the moms as she's passing by with her sign, and said something as in light of, what did she say? I've had abortions and I loved every single one. And the mom who was there, the grandmother who was there, she said, it took every ounce of energy for me not to grab hold of her and shake her, to say, what are you thinking? You don't know what you're talking about, because she went through it. And I think it was statements like that were hurtful by young women who probably never had abortions, but just wanted to say something that was hurtful or a snide comment. And so that was the only experiences that we had, was in coming home. And at the time that they were doing that, and I think the lady who was with me said the only thing that prevented it was we were praying the Divine Mercy Chaplain on the way back. So she was in mid prayer. Otherwise, I think she would have throat punched her. But that's my church community, where we can be a little volatile sometimes. That's why I watch them.
But Loki was thinking as we were doing the rosary, going back to the conversation about the ones with the big gigantic signs. I felt like I was like in a movie. Like I'm about to like get shot. Like, when I Kimberly's like, yes, but no.
I was like, yes, movie, and you're like, we're gonna get shot, and I was like, wait, no.
No, I felt like, I mean,
you lost me.
We were in a movie, right? But then it's like one of those like hijacking, like they set up it like, because I watched the movie. I teach this. I show this movie in Religion 11. I totally forgot the movie, but it had to do with like there's a priest that comes and does all the they show them how to like evangelize, just helping each other learn more about their faith and whatever. And then at the end he gets shot because he was standing for what he believed. And it just brought me back to that movie, The Mission. There we go, The Mission. And it just reminded me about that scene where he gets shot and he had the monstrance with him and everything's like fighting for his faith and whatever and whatnot. And I was literally like, I was thinking about that the whole entire walk. I'm like, I have my rosary, I have my my Catholic hat on, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. Like if this is my time, take me with you, and
March for the Martyrs.
Yeah, but it was just like, I don't know. I was low-key intimidated at first, but then after I was like, nah, this is not today, Satan, not today.
Exactly. So any expectations, did it meet your expectations? Did you guys have any other expectations that you thought would have been there? What are your thoughts, Tony? Did you have any other expectations of like, whoa, I totally expected this, but
no, I tried not to have any expectations. I will say this though. I was hoping that I'd have more courage, and I didn't. Because you know what? A surprise, or I don't know what you call it. So I had this I had a necklace with like the all access pass, whatever, blah blah blah. And they had like a brunch something for all the keynotes before the event. So I go in there, I'm like, maybe I can talk to Maria Pablo. right? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, maybe I can meet her, or maybe Sarah Kroger. And you know what I did? I didn't talk to anyone because I'm a chicken and I have social
Aw.
anxiety.
Good.
Yeah. Then they were just like on the other table, and it's like, and I, yeah, it's just my expectations of myself is to eventually, not be a little weenie head. But that was my expectations. Anyone else?
Shout out to Maria Pablo and Sarah
Yes.
Kroger. But if you ever listen to this podcast, we pray that you do. And you hear that little section, reach out to @minitangled and say, hey, let me DM you and let's have a conversation. Because we're super fans. And
Mhm.
you know what? I think most of us end up in that situation where we end up, it's like, should I?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
it's
no,
that
go.
fear of being turned down, right?
Well,
Or turned
I,
away.
well, because this was my first time, like, I was like, I don't know what to call it, but like an inner circle, whatever. I was like, I want to be professional and I don't want to fan out and geek out, but I was inside.
Well, maybe that's like unprofessional that you didn't introduce yourself. They're probably thinking like, man, this guy, who do you think he is? That we don't need to introduce. He doesn't need.
I mean, maybe, but no one was talking to each other.
Like nobody was talking to each other.
No, it was like high school all over again. There was like the tables, and they were talking to each other, like those certain people, yeah, cliques and whatnot. And then it was just like us MCs talking.
We
Yeah.
got to break that down.
Yeah, we got to do a youth ministry game to make sure all the tables are talking.
We could do better. We got to do better than that.
Yes. The social anxiety is a real thing.
It is a real thing. How about you, Alexis? It's like, what happened?
Yeah, I was just like, I'm Alexis, you're Tony. I'm the only one that can disappear.
What happened? Everyone keeps disappearing on me.
It was an accident.
What about you guys? Any other expectations that you guys thought?
No, because this is my first, like it being my first time. I was like, I'm just keep an open mind. I was so excited for it though. Like the night before, I was like pulling out my clothes and I was like, I'm so excited. And I texted Martha. I was like, what are you wearing? And I was like, maybe we can match. And then we ended up wearing matching hoodies. But it was so hot. And I was like, we got there and I was like, I can't do this. And so I was like sweating bullets in a black long sleeve and like black jeans. And I rolled up my sleeves and I was like, oh, Mary Fulliger. Like we're just walking. And I was like, I can't do this. But no, it was a lot of fun. And it was nice to be like there for something larger than myself, to know that I'm like doing something for I thought it was cool. I was gonna say something but then I forgot, so Alexis, you go, see if I remember it.
Well, you know what I mean, again, like every OneLife LA that I've been to, it has its special meaning, it has its special encounter, and it has that special moment that you cannot explain your experience. You have to experience it yourself. And all the OneLife events that I've been to, I know that that I have learned something new, and I continue to learn something new. I mean, even with the Requiem Mass, I mean, such a wonderful Mass that I encountered this year. I mean, every single year I was just a participant of just like looking at people taking the candles up to the Mass. And then this year, first time being a participant of me taking the candles personally to the altar. I think it's I think right now we're in a good standing position when it comes to bringing awareness of that abortion is not a good thing. But I know that we still have a lot of work to get done. And I just hope that next year, whoever the committee is for OneLife LA, that they really take into account different organizations around the different dioceses. I mean, San Bernardino has good programs that that help people that have gone through an abortion or I mean any kind of resources that are out there. Orange, same. LA, same. San Diego, same. I mean, just I think if we come together as a community, we're able to speak louder, and so, and obviously do a challenge at the end, like challenge us to do something for this next couple years. as a way to continue to create that momentum leading to the march once again next January.
I'm so glad that you said that, because sometimes we have these events and there's this ending, and there's no continuity. Okay, what are we supposed to do? We went to this event, and what is the challenge? What are you, what are you challenging us to do? You remember in World Youth Days, the Pope will always challenge you to do something better, to do something greater than yourself. I think this year, and some of the OneLife LAs, you go to the event, and then it's the walk, it's the march, and that's it. And there is that one thing that is missing. Okay, what are you challenging us to do this year? And I'm glad that you said something about putting out the other places that do good pro-life activities in the other dioceses aside from LA. I know this is OneLife LA, but just like everybody knows, Southern California is sometimes people will say, it's like, I'm from Fontana, and when family from out of state ask me where I'm from, I say I'm from LA, because they don't know where San Bernardino is. They don't know where any other city is. They only know LA. So it's like we're almost always say we're Angelinos. So this is the way it is. If you're from Victorville, it's like, where the heck is that? Oh, we're from LA. Yeah, oh, I know where that is. You're in that desert part of LA. So the high desert. But one of the things that I have to kind of stress is like, sometimes people say it's OneLife LA, it's all about just abortion. And what you heard and what you saw at the event is the echoing of life. Even our sign wasn't just a pro-choice, a pro-life sign. We talked about immigration, we talked about disabilities, and everything about life, the elderly, and things like that. Our speakers spoke about other things too. I just wish that it would be that we would echo those areas, but not because we have to, because it is part of life. It almost sometimes feels like it's forced, because we don't want people to say that, okay, you guys are only anti-abortion, so you have to include this. And I wish that it would be focused more of, this year's theme is, what is it? It's
Forward and hope.
Forward and hope. And what are we moving forward in hope for? And that should be the challenge. What are we, now that we've moved forward, do we continue to move forward? Because as the article from the Los Angeles Times, it was just awkward to read, because, as I said earlier, it's almost like the LA Times covers it because they have to, and they don't have anything positive to say about the march, and they're looking for something that is negative to say about it, and they really can't say anything negative. But it's kind of like, it says thousands of people marched through the streets of downtown Los Angeles, and it's always like in page 6 of the newspaper, if you're actually reading newspapers nowadays. But what I found something here. It said, that just, I want to quote. It said, once again this year we have gathered to, not that one. It says, where was it that he said? Oh, he said, indeed, for those who advocate against abortion rights, overturning Roe v. Wade has been their life's work. And now, after nearly 5 decades, they are at the cusp of succeeding, in no small part because years of working to transform the Supreme Court. The court has taken a sharp right turn in recent years, with former President Trump placing 3 conservative justices on the bench. The most recent justice, Amy Coney Barrett, a Catholic, a former law professor of the University of Notre Dame, and has a record of personal opposition to abortion. And then it moves on to, the court will soon rule on Dobbs versus Jackson, a review of Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban, etc. But it just focuses on the concept that Then here, this is the one important I want to say. It says, while some states like California maintain strong laws protecting abortion rights, others would likely move swiftly to ban abortion outright, making California and Illinois kind of like havens for safe abortions. And so that's what they're looking at, is our state of California will be that one state, one of two states that will be the strongholds for legal abortions. And so that's why I think we need to be strong and vigilant in going to these and really telling our lawmakers, hey, your constituents are pro-life, and they're not all Catholics. I dislike very much when they always say, oh, you Catholics are always, this and that. Um, we need more Catholics to be pro-life. Unfortunately, we need all Catholics to be pro-life, because as we know, and all the people in this and here all know, that not all Catholics understand what it means to be pro-life, and we need to address that. We need to shout that out from the rooftops of what this battle means. It's literally your generation who's going to correct the mistakes of the generation before me. I'm that generation in between that lost 60 million people. So hopefully your generation will do better than mine. I just want to read a few testimonies that were sent to us. And this one says, she shares, and I quote, I want to share this as a woman who at 17 years old was about to get an abortion. I thank God that I didn't. This walk and being pro-life is really important to me. Teaching my young men to support, defend life in all stages, regardless of the circumstances, is what life is really about. Yesterday's experience was awesome. I literally got home and thought so much and cried as it reminded me of the hard situation I was in at 17, but made the best decision ever. My daughter knows the situation and loves life. She has had the chance to save a baby by convincing her friend not to have an abortion. And this other one, she says, it was an experience that I am glad to have share with my daughter and granddaughter and the wonderful people that I consider church family. To see so many people from different cities coming together to pray and change the minds of women to have their babies was amazing. The praying together was amazing. And so these are just a couple of testimonies I picked out because I think it's important for people to hear that in the pro-life movement, it's not just about going to Planned Parenthood and taking a pill and saying it's done, it's over. I'm happy I did it. It's about the stories, the testimonies of women like this who share their life stories of the successes, the struggles, and the pains of going through this. So I just want to state that just because someone did not have an abortion and had a child, that their life, that they lived happily ever after. No, the truth is there is difficulty sometimes in the lives that they choose to have that child. But the miracle of it all is they chose to give that child an opportunity to live. And each one of these individuals did not state that their children lived through perfect lives, but they are perfect, living children of God and have the opportunity to make life so much more better than what it is. And I think that's what's missing in our world. We're missing over 60 million beautiful lives who could have changed this society to a much better one than it already is. We're a faulted people. We're a sinful people. And this atrocity that we continue to have and we continue to legalize and we continue to teach our kids that it's okay to kill the unborn is utmost the worst thing that needs to be stopped. Someone asked me, Um, someone asked me, you know, that people who are in the pro-life movement, why don't you also support like the American Heart Association or the homeless or this and that? And they're always putting that out towards us. That why aren't you doing this? And the response is, well, how do you know we're not? Because the people who are actually also supporting those organizations are also us who are pro-life. But as I said to one person, my church has over 30 ministries. I am not involved in every single one of them, but I support every single one. But in this one, this is where I am laser focused because this is the one that I feel is one of the most important things that we ought to do. And so for anyone out there who's listening to this and you're on like on the boundaries of whether I'm pro-life or pro-choice or I'm a man so I have no say, let me share with you now that life is sacred, God-given. And if you don't believe in God, you still know that morally killing an innocent person is wrong. So for anyone out there who may be considering and wanted to talk and dialogue about this, shoot us a DM. We'll have that conversation. We'll have that dialogue to be able to talk about life, to talk about the sacredness of it all, and to even offer you resources. If you're a person out there who's considering abortion, who has a friend who is considering abortion, I know I'm doing a monologue now, but I think it's important for you to understand that we are speaking to you, that we are here, and we don't turn anyone away. We don't turn anyone away. And I think it's important for this generation to hear from my generation to say, hey, we are so proud of you guys for doing what you are doing. You are literally doing what we should have done in the 80s. You are doing what we should have done before this had to be placed on your shoulders. So for anyone there who's a millennial, who's in Gen Z, guess what? You are the post-abortion generation. You're not the pro-life generation. You're going to be the post-abortion generation. And I hope that you guys continue to fight, continue to share, and continue to go out there in the public square to share that, hey, life is a gift from God. That's what makes it sacred. What sacred is means it's holy. So guys, do you have anything else that you wanted to say?
I remember what I was gonna say earlier.
Say it.
So kind of like what that first testimony was saying, like when I got there, we walked up to La Placita Rivera and like everybody's kind of just like waiting for it to start. For some reason, I just wanted to start crying. I was like, this is so beautiful. I am so excited to be here. And I almost started just like bawling right there in the middle of Placito Rivera for like no reason. I was looking around and I saw Martha and I saw her daughter who was like hanging out with me and I was like, this is so great. And like, I don't know, I feel like that's how I was kind of like the whole day. Even when we were like marching and praying the rosary, I was like, guys, this is so great. Like, I don't know, I just feel like really blessed to have been there and to have experienced it and to hear people like Tony who are close to my age and like having seen them like lead and then also just like kickstart all of this and to give us that platform of like give us younger people a platform to be like, hey, it's okay, you can come up. So I think like that was my culmination of yesterday. Like, it's so great to be here. This is a challenge I'm willing to like take up and like I'm excited to see where it goes.
Amen. And so since they did not say a challenge for us and for you, here's the disconnected challenge for everyone who went to that pro-life, OneLife LA. We challenge you to go and join the movement, to go pray in front of Planned Parenthood. Find an organization, find a youth group, find a church ministry that goes in front of the abortion clinics every Saturday or every Friday or whatever their schedule is, and just be there, be present. Here's the one great thing that you could do. Show your face. Because here's the one thing that's really important. I always stress this when we go. And shout out to Bethany who is like going social media less for the next 90 days. She always goes with us. And the most important thing of her witness is for people who are going to go get an abortion to see a young person's face, a young woman's face, a young man's face. Because when you see people who are of your age, you could simply say that that person is thinking, wow, it's not only old people who are judging me. It's young people who are smiling and caring about me. And I guarantee you that young people would rather speak to you than speak to me. Because when they're like going up to me and I'm asking them, hey, come pray with me, all they're seeing is their dad who's judging them. But when they see you, they see a friend, they see a schoolmate, they see someone who is just wanting to be present. And so that's what I challenge everyone who went to OneLife LA. Go pray in front of the abortion clinics and be a witness. Be a witness. Share your testimony. Share what happened. Share what happened to you. And guess what? You will save lives. And it's so rewarding when you come home and you can tell your friends, hey, we had a save today. We had a save today. Someone actually reached out and a child was saved from termination. So that's all I have to say. That's literally all I have to say, Tony, because Tony's like,
Amen.
if no one else has anything else to say, I'm going to say it. That's all we have, y'all, this time around. So I hope that you all tune in to our next episode of This Connected with me and Tony and the rest of the gang. Send us an email at catholic.dad50@gmail.com with your comments, and make sure to rate this podcast. It helps us in the algorithms for people to come find us. And as usual, if you want to support us, go to our links in our bio to be a patron to this podcast so that we can help support the ministries that we are trying to support if we ever make any money. 100% of our income goes to providing support for other places. So remember, as usual, live a life of holiness. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us. And most importantly, be blessed and be third. Bye for now.
Different points of view and highs and lows, a new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise of different generations of the girls and boys. So sit back and relax, this is Catholic Podcast. Don't overreact if the thoughts are abstract. When it's hosted by Catholic Dad, who knows what's gonna happen?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Different points of view and highs and lows, a new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.
What's up, fam? To connect generations and situations about faith, life, and whatever comes along the way.
Expect runaway thoughts like a runaway train. Break into conversation like links of a chain. Make a Hail Mary pass, hope this connects. Have a question for a guest, put it to rest. Live a life of holiness, lead by example. Follow at Catholic.Dad and Mini Tangled. Christ leads our way, he's the good shepherd. Pray for one another, be blessed and be third. Different points of view and highs and lows, a new perspective everywhere you go. Open up your mind and drown out the noise and see if this connected.